Hi, welcome. So last week I spoke about uh, potential counterproductiveness of the phrase wake up when we say it in an attempt to change people's opinions or worldviews or something about themselves, about the way they are, and how it's counterproductive because it gives rise to reaction of defensiveness in people towards which we direct that phrase at. So this week I would like to talk about why this defensiveness arises in the first place and what it does for us and potentially what it does to us. So, to make it easier, imagine that all your life you were not a reader. You did not like reading, you didn't enjoy reading, you always said to other people you don't like reading. If someone suggested that maybe you should read, you scoffed at them and you said, I don't do reading. Or another example, dancing. If you're not a dancer, you don't enjoy dancing, you always said to people, I don't do dancing. Anytime someone tried to drag you onto a dance floor, you fiercely refuse because I don't do dancing. So these things are a part of our what we call self-image, and there isn't a universal agreed definition of what self-image is, but we all know what we mean when we talk about it. And we acquire the self-image at the very early age. We build on it, we nurture it, we project it out into the world in terms that we project what we want to be seen as, how we want to be perceived by those around us, and then we fiercely protect it. And of course, we protect it because it is very closely tied to our identity, to our self-worth. And I'm not going to reduce these terms anymore because there's no need. We can all appreciate the importance of those elements to our well-being, to our psychological and emotional well-being. So naturally, when our self-image is challenged, defensiveness will arise, and it's automatic. It's very rarely a well thought out response to a challenge to our self-image. It is the initial reaction is always automatic. It's inbuilt in us to protect our self-image, our identity, and our self-worth. And now, if I go back to those couple of examples, it could be if you say not a reader, and if you're with someone in a supermarket, you're waiting around for that someone who knows you for a while, who knows what you're all about. You're waiting for them, and you find yourself waiting in the book aisle, and you're bored. Your eyes are wandering around. Your eyes catch a cover of a book. You like it. You pick it up. You turn it over. You read in the back of it. And that person that knows what you're all about come back around from another aisle, and they go, aha, I didn't think you read. And I think you can probably imagine your reaction to such situation. You will most likely go, well, I don't. I was just bored waiting for you. You slam the book down and you walk away. That's a defensive reaction. Dance an example. If you find yourself in a room, there's a good beat going, you find your head bobbing, your foot tapping, unintentionally, without any conscious thought, that's just what your body is doing. Again, someone who knows what you're all about, they catch you doing that and they go, aha, I didn't think you danced. And they challenge this, your contradicting behavior to what you say you are, what you have been saying you are. Again, the most common reaction from my observation is you stop your head from bobbing, you stop your foot from tapping, and you revert back to your regular demeanor. So you protect your self-image. There's another aspect, actually, which I will not discuss much, with cultural aspect, because most of us, and that's an assumption on my side, that most of us and those who are watching have grown up in the societies where individualism is not only encouraged and rewarded, it is somewhat worshipped. So, of course, we will, again, automatically protect our individuality. And I mean, we all said, I have certainly many times, often misguidedly, said, if you don't like it, leave it. So why am I talking about this in the first place? Why is this important? Well, it's important because certain aspects that are now inbuilt in our self-image might not be serving us any longer. They might have been serving us along the way, but maybe we have reached the point in our lives where it stops serving us, and now instead it impedes us from moving forward, whatever that forward might be. It impedes us from achieving what we want. It impedes us from learning new things. It basically impedes our well-being now, because same with the dance example, we deprived our body of doing what it needed to do, of that response, unintentional, unconscious response to the rhythm. We suppressed something. And suppression is never good. So there can be a point where certain elements of our self-image, they stop serving us and they start impeding us from moving forward. But that defensive reaction, that automatic defensive reaction to when it's challenged, is still very much there. Upon reflection, we might realize, come to some insights that, you know what, I don't care actually. What if I fancy reading now? What's the difference? What difference does it make that I didn't read all my life, or move into the rhythm? We might not, but we might, hopefully. But the initial automatic reaction will still be defensiveness, will be that discomfort of now contradicting in public what we always said we were. So the reason why I'm talking about it is because I want to suggest a potential strategy to how to overcome that defensive reaction, that embarrassment even that we might feel when we are seen doing something that we always said we wouldn't. I want to suggest that there is a way of how to overcome that, regardless of it being an automatic reaction, protective, defensive mechanism. Mind you, it's slow. It's a very slow process. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing that can be sustained happens overnight. But at least it gives us it gives us hope that it can be done, really. And for me, at least, when I read the famous phrase of Mariangelo, and I can't quote it word for word, so I'm not going to even try. But it is to the effect of, do the best you can. And when you know better, do better. That's, to me, that phrase, when I first read it quite a few years ago, it shifted something in me so much. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Because up to that point, I had a very, very rigid self-image. And I actually fancied myself a bit of a robot. I wouldn't have said those words then. I wouldn't have recognized it. It's only upon reflection. But the space in which I operated, I deprived myself of so many things simply because of the way I fancied myself to be. And I was protecting that self-image, and I was protecting the image that others were seeing, because it challenges your identity, isn't it? That's you, and anything that is contradicting what you perceive as you creates a great discomfort. And it can then go both two ways. We can either continue as we are, which will affect our psychological, emotional well-being, and naturally that will affect our behavior and our relationships. Or at that junction, we can choose to accept that we were what we were, and that doesn't disappear. But now we have reached the point where we want to be a little bit more. And that was the phrase of Mary Angelou that really, that quote, that really, really, that opened my eyes. So from that, I want to suggest, when you catch yourself, you won't always catch yourself in the heat of a situation that you're having a defensive reaction. More often than not, it's only upon reflection, if we are willing to reflect, that we gain some insight into what happened and what's happening, and whether it serves us or not. But I want to suggest that we think about it. We explore that a little bit more, because the more we think about it, the more we explore it, the closer to the forefront that awareness will be. And the closer to the forefront it is, the sooner we will be able to catch ourselves having a defensive reaction, and the sooner we can address it. And if we reframe the situation, and that's what I had to do, and it was really, really hard, and that's an ongoing process. But if we reframe the situation, when we act not in accordance to what we've always been seen as us, as this is me, this is how I act in situations like that. If we catch ourselves acting differently or wanting to act differently, there's accepting that maybe acting differently would serve us better. It is nothing, there is not, we are not, by accepting, we are not saying anything about what it was like, what we were like up to that point. It does not put our self-image in any bad light up to that point. If we accept that we could change something about ourselves, that is not, and that is not saying that up to this point I wasn't good enough. That is saying that up to this point, we did the best we could with the knowledge we had. And then when we were exposed to more knowledge, to more understanding that comes through more knowledge, then we adjust our self-image. And it's not even adjusting, it's actually expanding. It's making it broader. It's as you can see, I'm very passionate about it, and I'm passionate about it to the point where I'm struggling to find suitable words, because we need we need that. I know we need that as people, because there's a lot of suffering because of unhealthy attachments and sometimes misplaced defensiveness. We need that as communities, and we need that as societies. But that's now me going into completely different topics that have no end and no beginning. So I will leave it at that, and I hope that that suggestion of how we could reframe any change that we might want to implement in our life that contradicts our self-image up to that point. I hope it helps you along the way. Thank you. I'll see you next week.